How to generate publicity for SIRs. So what is publicity? A lot of people ask, what is that? It's a notice or attention given to someone or something by the media. It is the giving out of information about a product, person, or company or promotional purpose. It is the material of information used for publicity. Branch publicity and image. There are two major ways for a branch to obtain members and subsequently guests. There is the internal recruiting method of members or bring guests using our invite cards, etc., and the external recruiting method of guests coming to the branch with no previous members or contact. So I think I gave the analogy yesterday about breadcrumbs. Basically, publicity is one of the forms of breadcrumbs that we spread out, and hopefully someone picks them up and follows the trail back to our branch. Heretofore, at least probably the majority of the time, the first method of members bringing in other members had worked, but now, typically in a typical year, we lose about 17% of our membership and we gain about 14. So our net loss is normally 3 to 4%. And for whatever reason, back in the 90s, early 90s, the recruiting was really strong. So that's why we've really worked on the publicity and image. We need to do something else besides the recruiting process. No matter which manner a guest comes to the branch publicity and image is a critical activity. I used this presentation right here off of the webpage that someone did probably 10 years ago and kind of adapted it to today. To say that SIR is one of the best kept secrets in Northern California would be an understatement. Anything we can do to inform our target recruits of benefits of joining SIR will bring the branch recruiting dividends. Listed below are some potential goals and actions to get you thinking about how to improve your branch's publicity and image efforts. Reflect back on the video and learning points and check those who are particularly focused branch efforts in this area. Develop an updated branch website and ensure it conveys the branch image you strive for. We've had some other presentations already about that. That's work in progress, and we're slowly starting to change this. Main thing I've talked to some people about is try to get, at least to get the new logo up. I know there's some branches say, I'm going to use the old logo until we die type thing, but please try to use the new logos on your website and also on the bulletins. Improve your branch's image at lunches. I put down here retractable banner, which is now available on our website, and A-frames. We're not doing that, but I think we need to spend the money for the A-frames, put them out when we're having our luncheons. In fact, we put them out when we play golf or bocce ball. Anywhere in the public, put your sign out so they know who you are. Build an effective publicity and image committee. Appoint publicity and image committee chairman. Probably that needs to be first before you have the committee, but they both need to be done. The hardest part is finding those who have appropriate skills and that are competent. Visit local newspapers and make a personal contact with person who writes this week in the city column. In our case, we've invited the editors of the local papers, and I've got their cards and can know them on a first name basis. Study what works in other branches. Write a monthly announcement informing the public of the branch meeting, time, location, speaker, and how to contract the branch. This is a hard one. You have to assign someone that'll take a few notes about who the speaker is, try to get a picture and post it in the next newspaper for the next week, or at least put it in maybe a week before your next meeting on who the speaker was last time and who the speaker is that's coming up. Maintain a stock of brochures, cards, and other publicity items. I'm going to cover this a little more. Some of this has also been covered already. Develop and implement a plan to sell apparel to members. We've got some items on the website that Tony's taking care of, and also a lot of branches have their own vendors. The main thing is just like what I've got my hat on and I got my shirt on and I got vests and I wear all that stuff when I go play golf and go to meetings. Write content to develop and update the branch website. Some of our websites get a little dull. They need to be energized from time to time with current information. Review the branch website to ensure it's user-friendly for potential guests and members. Support, recruit, and member relations efforts, and place brochures in places that the candidates visit. Barbershops, donut shops. I'd all invite you, especially if you're a big sir, little sir, get you a set of business cards and feel free to hand them out. You can order, I believe it's about 150 cards for like $20-25. You download the template and put in all your personal information. And you can do that on our website. Invitation cards. A lot of you still probably have the old cards, which are fine, but in due course, try to upgrade it to your current logo and branding that we have. This has all been planned out as far as to attract people. We want the same type of logo and branding to go on our websites, on our newsletters, etc. So it needs to go on our cards. Also, we came up with a new recruiting brochure. There's 2 options of this that are available. We have one on our website that you can download and order. It's a 3-fold. This happens to be a gated fold. And it allows you, if anyone has any questions when we get done, I'll be happy to go online to our website and show you how you do this. All this, can you see my cursor? All this information here is you put in on your own branch, what activities you have, where the branch information, where you meet. That was the inside of the brochure. This is the outside. Also, an item that's just been developed is the golf rack cards. Branch golf programs may include weekly tournaments. We have our weekly tournaments. These need to be going up into the pro shops at our golf courses. And we go through local play, area play, region play, state play. Not all branches do that. Like Jim Walton, they stay up in Arnold and have their own fun in Arnold. They don't go anywhere else, but they have plenty of fun. And I joined them here a while back. Great place. So anyway, use the cards. Banners are available. These are, you can download and put them on your you can put them on your web page. You can put them on your newsletter. One of the things that I just came up with, and it seemed like it worked. We just had a meeting that we were concerned about attendance because it's just starting back up again. We email out our newsletters. We do a blast out on the meetings. We find that only 40–50% of the people open their emails. We tried a phone tree. First thing is getting the guys motivated to do the phone tree. We had the chairman of our phone tree today at a meeting give a good ass chewing to all the people on the phone tree because they weren't doing their job. People aren't returning phone calls. So we thought, well, we need to go back to the old way of doing things, and that's mailing out a reminder. So this was a single page fold over. What we're going to start coming up with, and Tony's going to help me, Mary's going to help me. One thing that's become really popular that a lot of people are using, you see this, are these postcards. I get 2 or 3 a day. These are going to be put together using our branding, and we're going to send them out about a week before our meetings. You can order about, well, I haven't got the cost on them yet, but they're going to be probably in the 20-cent range. We're going to leave a space out where we can order 1,000 of them, but have a space for a label that gives the information for the current meeting, who the speaker is, and so forth. And I bet we gained 40% more people attending our meeting this last week because we mailed out this reminder. And I would guess in most of the cases, the wives got the mail and reminded their husbands that they had a meeting to go to. On the inside of that, basically we had the article that the Big Sur had written for the newsletter, and that was part of it that reminded them about the meeting. One of the things I would encourage you to do, and this is part of publicity and the time is appropriate for it, this is a prototype of a news release, press release, to announce to the world that you have a new Big Sur at your branch. It gives you an opportunity to talk about who that Big Sur is, what his interests are, his wife, and so forth. And then it gives you an opportunity to talk about what SIR does, and where it meets and so forth, and a place to go to the webpage. So we're going to put this out in early January. So if you don't know how to put together a press release, you'll be able to find this one on the webpage. Just put in your own branch's information on who it is and so forth. It should be fairly easy. If you can't do that, give me a call. I'll be happy to put it together for you. And then the most critical thing is chasing down who's the person that's going to put it in the newspaper. You're going to have to find a local contact at your newspaper, and don't be afraid to put it out to 2 or 3 different newspapers in your area. But if we could have 100 branches provide a news release or a press release about their Big Sur, that's a lot of publicity. So I've kind of cranked through my presentation. So if you have any questions, shoot.
Rick, this is Jim. With your rack cards for golf, obviously you're hoping to pick up a new fella.
Right.
What's the rules now on, so a guy picks it up and he says, yeah, gosh, I want to play next Tuesday when you guys are playing. Do you require them to become a member first?
No.
So they're a guest, but they still have to follow the COVID protocol.
Well, if we're not meeting inside, we don't have to have a vaccination card. You can play out as long as you're not going inside for a planned event. Doesn't mean you can't go into the pro shop or the dining room after for a beer, but that's not a SIR event inside the
Yeah, okay, because I know up at our golf course, when this first started up, nobody was allowed to ride in tandem in a golf cart. Everybody had to be solo.
Let me back up. It really depends on your county and what your health department's regulations are. So in our particular area, in fact, they just lifted the face mask for inside in Stanislaus County. But early on, we had the same thing you were talking about, separate carts and so forth. That's when it seemed to be at its most critical. But we don't have that restriction now.
But every time we have somebody join us as a guest, this Rick House on branch 32, we do ask them to fill out the waiver form before they play with us.
I think that's great. Every branch has their own, they can do what they want as far as you have as a minimum the state guidelines. For example, today we just had a BEC meeting where we talked about revising our protocol regarding the 72-hour test. Our branch elected not to be able to provide that. So
I'd like to mention about the golf thing. I lost 2 possible recruits because they said, oh, I don't golf. And maybe that was just their excuse to get out of it. But by the time I got back to them, they had already made up their mind. They didn't want to join because they didn't golf. So be careful.
Well, I guess it depends on the branch and what your activities are. In our case, we've only got out of 120 guys, there's only 10 of us that play golf. And when we had 250 members, we had 60 people play golf. Not everybody wants to move at the pace that SIRS does when they play golf. So if you're a fast mover, you move on. Lynn?
Yeah, this is not a question, it's a comment. Yesterday we had our luncheon and we inducted a new member, and he brought a guest. And the guest walked up to me and said, "Hey, I live in an active 55 community. Do you have any brochures or business cards? And I'll hand them out to the HOA people."
Wow.
And I said, "Wow, this is cool." And I said, "Yes, we do. We have business cards. We have brochures. Please do hand those out." So it was a nice moment. And he wasn't even a member. He was already thinking about publicity and membership growth.
You had them available. That was even better.
Yes.
Jack, do you want to unmute? Thank you, Lynn.
Yes, on the cards that you hand out at the golf courses, is there a space on the card or the brochure, whatever it is, noting the branch and a local phone number for that?
I believe there is, yes.
Oh, okay, that's what I want.
Yeah, I haven't printed one out yet, but everything else that we do has a opportunity to personalize it to the branch.
Oh, good. Okay.
Any other comments or questions? One of the publicity items I'll talk a little bit more about. Did anybody get to see the thing we talked about on Facebook? You know, we have a state Facebook page and several branches already have Facebook, but we're going to start using Facebook more. And the first reaction probably for 75% of you is I don't really give a big rat's ass about Facebook and don't even want to participate. But what we're proposing that it be used for is promotion and publicity. We want your possible prospective member wife to see it, or maybe their kids to see it, to say, "Hey, Pops, you ought to look into SIRS. It looks like they're having a lot of fun." So I've started I have my own Facebook and page, and I post things at SIR meetings, and then I also part of groups of other SIRs, so I can post that information there. And one of the things I like to do is ask people, and preferably I'm asking guys that are 55 to 65, why did they join SIR? And I videotape it and then I post it. Or if they're at an event, I ask them, "Are you having fun?" And I videotape that and post it. So hopefully we get enough of this kind of information that we can put together a pretty good video that we can move on to even better things than just Facebook and show people that we're having fun.
Rick, is there any way we can get a copy of your notes?
Yeah, it'll all be on the webpage. Yes, sir. Yep.
Rick, Len again, another comment. We had a ladies' luncheon in October, and in the spirit of enthusiasm and having a little fun, I assigned the ladies all to call their best friends, their girlfriends, and have the girlfriend have their husband come to our meetings as a guest, get that husband out of the house.
Right.
So that was their homework assignment. We
Gotcha.
get the women to recruit for us.
That's great. Well, you're with me here. We've still got a little bit of time. I did have another presentation to make that I was going to start out with. And if you don't mind, I'll go through it real quickly here. Encouraging new branch leadership. This is an item that we could talk about forever, and it's one that's sorely needed. Several years ago, we were given the challenge to go out and talk about nominating and how important nominating is for the branch. And these are some of the links that go through the nominating portion of it. nominating committee chairman, nominating process that I provided earlier, leadership summit form video, form 20, and recruiting leaders, and the membership relations legacy one. That'll all be on the web page, and I would invite you to look at those. There's some more items that need to be reviewed if you're new to it, but you can have the best membership team, nominating committee. In our own branch, we meet almost on a monthly basis to talk about positions and looking 1, 2, 3 years down the road for potential candidates. You can do all this perfectly, but the most important thing, as far as I'm concerned, is the key ingredient developing new branch leaders is attracting new younger members. The problem is when we get to, I think historically there's exceptions to all this, but we get to the high end of 70s, we start losing steam. It's like going up a hill. After a while, you just start slowing down. So the key is we need new members, and we need young members. And one of the key things that I see, at least in our branch, is not all the time do we do a good job on the membership application. We get applications in that are half filled out. You really need to spend some time, if you're bringing in a new member, to go through that whole application, especially in the back. Make sure you list off what the prospective member is interested in, and especially on the bottom half of that says ways to assist the branch. And then we also added a portion here about veterans. Historically, 60 to 70% of branches are veterans, and I put on a lot of programs and I honored a lot of veterans, and every time I do that, the attendance goes way up as long as it's publicized. And we've added new members because of the veteran programs that we have put on. So fill it out completely, please. The other key that I've seen is involve new members as soon as possible in branch activities and leadership. Do not induct and ignore. Pay attention to new members if you want them to stay, have fun, and become your new leaders. The future survival and success of SIR depends upon the recruitment of new, younger members. All members must be recruiters. So if you believe in the spirit and the mission of SIR, step up and be an active recruiter. Use those membership cards and invite cards and go out and recruit. And I think almost every meeting you have to make sure that you have someone at the door handing out those invite cards to make sure they have 2 or 3 of them that they take home with them. It's simple. It's so simple. I've caught guys standing in line at Rayleigh's doctor's office. I was repairing a tire at the tire shop the other day, found a guy that was a young school teacher, just retired, and I nailed him, boy, got him good. So you just got to ask and talk. Don't be shy. So anyway, any questions about that?
That's funny.
Rick, this is Jim. One of the things that we did with our new member application, where it talks about, are you willing to volunteer or hold a position? We actually have a box, yes or no. And surprisingly enough, we've got a few yeses from new members. And what we do at page 2, that goes to our big SIR, who then works with a nominating committee, and we start to develop a list of those guys that said, yes, I'm interested in serving on the board. And we try to bring those along.
I think the other key in that whole scenario, Jim, is once those applications come in, they have to be distributed.
Yeah.
And I think you have to drill into the activities chairman to review those applications and make a phone call to the new member that invite him to an event. If that application isn't shared, that new member sits there. It may take him 6 months to figure out where he's supposed to go. It took me that long on golf. Where do I go? What do I do? Who do I talk to? So one of the things we set up at the beginning of every meeting, we set up a table for new members and had the activities chairman come in and sit down at those tables for new members to ask questions. So we're most of you around yesterday when we talked about ladies and sirs. Okay, let me bring you up to speed a little bit. We have one branch up in Walnut Creek that was going down. They had, I don't know, 75, 80 members, but no one was willing to step up as a big sir. So rather than letting it die, ladies have been invited to attend and become members of that branch. It's a trial pilot program. So some of our other sirs in the area volunteered to come in and serve as interim big sir and little sirs till they could see who could develop into those positions. And we've probably got 2 or 3 other branches that have discussed this as a possibility. We don't know how far it's going to go. And again, it's a pilot program. Some of our founders, if they heard me even talking about this, would roll over in their grave and have a temper tantrum probably. But anyway, I think the key is survival. And if we have to change with the times because we're not getting the leaders out of the men, then we guess we got to look to the leaders, the women as leaders.
So, hi, this is Harold. I have a question
Harold.
about yesterday's branding. We're calling ourselves Social Activities for Men.
Right.
And we're now talking a little bit about
Right.
ladies. So I'd like to plan ahead and say, let's not, just the point.
Yeah, I'll share with you when I was area governor, I had 7 branches. This is like 3 years ago, probably. I went to their BEC meetings and asked them unofficially what they thought about it down the road if this was to happen, how they felt about it. And out of 7 branches, 5 said, probably not a bad idea. And the other 2 were not only no, they were hell no. So I think whatever happens, it's going to be a by branch type of situation. We've got branches with 200 or 300 guys in it. The room is maxed out already. You can't get any more in it. They're very active. But you've got other branches with 30, 40 guys in it that, and they're all 75 to 85 years old. Nobody wants to do anything. So, what do? Do you let the branch die, or do you say, okay, I've seen Lions clubs go through this. I saw Rotaries go through it. I saw Elks go through it, and they all have ladies in it now, and they've turned around. So, but in those cases, they made it, organization wide. It wasn't by branch. So,
Rick, Jim again. After that yesterday, that discussion, I got a couple of emails, guys from my branch and set the idea apart. Just talk about the SIRS incorporation and all that's involved. And even, because we stay with SIR because of that. It's a horrendous chore to change the incorporation of SIRinc and then 100 and something branches, which are all corporations.
right.
It's not like we can just change our name. We can just change our emblem.
Exactly.
If we're going in that direction, it's going to be a long road and it's going to be expensive.
Yep. Yeah.
Yeah. And so maybe there's another way to do this, but like you're saying, branch by branch, you could include your wives and girlfriends or whatever. They probably wouldn't want to be called associate members or guests,
Right.
but there's got to be a way to work around this. And it's hard to forget what SIR started to mean and was versus where we are now. I don't know how you get around it, but that's going to be the hurdle.
Right.
Well,
Got a question. If we allow women in to the branch, do we offer quilting as an activity?
Why not? Why not?
I have a cousin, a guy that does that, so it's not a woman thing only. We could
Yeah.
easily do that.
This is Len again. I have a comment, not so much about having ladies join the organization, but I think we need to find out how to get younger people to join the organization and more diverse. It's disappointing that this week we couldn't get anybody to talk about diversity and inclusion. But I think that's another path, younger and more diverse.
Exactly. Yeah. Yeah, I think we're aware of that. It's just a matter of where you put your time and effort. You know, where do you pick the low fruit on the tree and try to get moving again? You know, I'm afraid when we get into the first quarter's assessment, we may find some big surprises on how many members we really have. Most of the branches collected their dues early in the year, and they've been paying the assessments right along because they've had the money. But when we get into the first quarter, you know, how much of those assessments or dues are going to determine the membership. And our branch took, you know, I live on a street that's mainly SIRs, and I've lost 4 neighbors in the last year. You know, not all of them due to COVID, but you know, it's taken its toll.
Yep.
Any other comments, questions? I think we're getting back close to going back in the main room.
I think it's sometimes difficult to get a younger member in an organization with a bunch of old farts. You know, I don't want to be around those old guys, and that's a tough call.
Yeah, usually it takes a nucleus of 2 or 3 guys. If you can get 2 or 3 younger guys, then they'll start bringing in some of their friends, and they'll have their own little clique of young guys.
Right.
What we seem to find, it's firemen that retire, retired policemen, even some young retired school teachers, prison guards. We've got some guys that are 50, 55 years old. You know, they're single digit handicap golfers.
Yeah, that's what you need. Yeah.
We just brought in a fellow 52 years old,
Yeah,
and our little SIR is 59.
right.
So that's going in the right direction. But again, for our particular branch, as Rick knows, golf was the nucleus. The 52-year-old he's still somewhat working, but he's a sales rep and he travels around. He's got a tremendous amount of flexibility. And that's what attracted him. Heck yeah, I got time for a lunch, you know.
Right. Okay. Well, I see there's only one breakout room left. I guess that's us. So I don't know.
One quick question before we go.
Yes, sir.
Just a hit. My name's Harold. People are staying at home now because they're working remotely. I just thought of that. Maybe we can tie into that because they're going to have time. They're flexible on the schedule. I don't know how to tie into it, but that would be an interesting way of finding people who are now working remote and hanging around the house all day long.
Rick, it's Jim again. I think that's where the Facebook thing is going to be valuable.
Okay.
All the younger folks are always online doing something. I always say Facebook is too much information, TMI, but you don't always want to know what your kids are really doing. but I think that goes a long way to getting some of these younger folks, because that's something they look at, they use, they YouTube videos, you know. Yeah.
Okay.
So I'm not really sure how we go back to the main room. It looks like everyone's still,
From what I understood, Robin Friesen, from what I understood, you go down to leave room, but then you don't, and then
Okay.
that'll take you out, but then you
Yeah.
don't click on leaving the meeting, you click
Right.
on
okay.
the other one. That's what I heard earlier.
Okay, that's the bottom right hand. There's a leave room that's in blue. So I'll
One
make
comment,
sure.
guys. This is Fred.
Yes, Fred.
One of the things, and it was brought up yesterday, is next door, and another one that's in the Walnut Creek, San Ramon, Danville area is Patch.
Right.
Patch is similar to next door, but a lot of people are visiting those kinds of local sites now, and so we had a Patch ad that had 148,000 hits.
Wow.
We haven't got anybody to sign up for that, but at least we know that these things are being seen.
Right.
That's just another way to get the word out.
Right. Right. Yeah, public service announcements too. I think we're going to be working on those, and I'm even going to go after a Good Morning Sacramento. There's no reason why there shouldn't be some time on TV for SIRs.
I'm confused. Should we hit the leave room button now?
Yes, let's go ahead and go back to main room.
And
Thank
hit the
you very
leave.
much.
Hit.
Why, sure. The question was on the sandwich board. We saw Alan Baker provide a nice poster on it that said "Golf's here, the SIRs are here, contact us." And I was looking for a way to get a photo of that or something, so I could go get one made. I didn't want to have to recreate it.
Yeah.
If you got any bead on that, he thought somebody thought it was maybe going to be available through the store, but I guess not.
No, well, I think I could make it available. I'd have to see it and then compare it to the formats they have and work with them on that if necessary. I don't mind doing that. If someone could send me what we're talking about, I could send it to them and we could see if we can do it.
It was Alan Baker, right? It wasn't Ed. I think it was Alan Baker who showed that.
So
pulled it up and showed it.
Let me make a note and I'll call him.
Ed's got it behind him. He always got to do is take a picture of it and send it to you.
Oh, it was Ed. It wasn't Alan Baker. It was Ed.
Ed has one in his room.
Okay, that was it. Well, that's what, it sounded, if you got an easel, it sounds like a great idea.
You just have to get the exact measurement of the board so it fits right in.
That's right.
Okay, well, thank you. Thank you.
Yeah, I'm willing to help, of course.
I'll send you an email.
Okay, I'll take it from there.
So as far as I know, we're back in the main meeting room, so I don't know where the others are still going.
Huh.
I presume they are.
I just got off the line with Vistaprint because I got a message last night from Jay Gordon asking why he couldn't use a debit card. He'd been rejected. And so I looked into it, and indeed they did have a problem processing debit cards. So it's fixed now, but it was good information because I thought, well, gee, maybe they don't take debit cards. Never had that question before, but they do. They do take debit cards and credit cards. So, and it's working now.
Great.
I just wrote him a message.
Great. I'm going to be ordering some, Tony, I'm going to be ordering some business cards for some of my guys that I made commitments. So I'm going to use your page to order those.
Sure.
See how it goes.
It'll go smoothly, really.
So creating new activities is still must be going strong.
So, Rick, I just sent a message to everyone that we're to please wrap up, and in a minute, I'm going to hit 60-second wrap up.
Great.
I'd like to ask Richard Provost for something. In one of the meetings, we had an orientation of new members swear-in document. Do you know where I could find that? Oh, you're muted, Rich. You're muted.
Oh, George, it's in the manual, but I can send you a copy of that document if you want.
Oh, great.
And then you can just fill it in. It's just a simple Word document. It's the swearing from the manual that was, I think, changed last year. Let me get a pen. What's your email
That's
address?
correct, Richard, that's correct. It's in the manual. It was changed
Okay,
last
it's in
year.
the manual. My email address, Suter, SUTER, GEO 80 @gmail.com.
Would you repeat it?
Sure. Suter, SUTER, GEO 8080 @gmail.com.
What did you say?
Okay, SUTERGEO.
Yes.
80.
8080 @gmail.com. Thanks, Richard.
Andy, just to report that the activities group has now returned.
Yeah, we're getting there. I sent the note out,
I saw it.
and everyone's going to close in about 30 seconds, and we'll all be back together. And Rick, we'll turn it back to you to.
The recovery room is closed.
Yeah, I think everyone's out of the breakout rooms. We ended up with 78 people back, so we only lost 30 or 40.
Yeah, Rick, I went to each of the rooms, and my count is we had 102 people in 4 rooms.
That's great. Fantastic.
I'd like to take a moment and just say thank you to everyone. This has been a great summit, and for you and all the ones that were presenters and gave us lots of neat stuff. Thank you.
Thanks, Gary. Just to wrap it up, we've had 5 days of a lot of information. I think some of you have been here every day. So I know it's a kind of a grind, but I think as the committee, we appreciate comments like Gary. A lot goes into this. We're all learning about how to do it properly. Zoom, we've been using it, now a year now. So we're all learning the tricks and nuances of that, plus constant contacts. I think we're all here because we believe in SIRS. We want SIRS to flourish. Like we said earlier, it's one of the best kept secrets. So we need to get out and recruit and try to build our membership back up again. It's hard enough during regular times, and then you throw COVID equation on top of it, just makes it doubly tough. But I give you a commitment as your next year's president to do everything we can. We've got a great team on the state level, and we've got great regional directors, area governors. We were talking about teamwork and synergism and so forth to join our areas and regions together to participate in things together. So with all that said, do we have anything else that anybody would like to share or comment or questions before we sign off for this second summit of the year?
I've just done a quick count, and I reckon we've had about 617 people in and out of the various meetings over the 5 days.
Good. And if we can have that many or more, pull up the videos and PowerPoints off the webpage, that's even more important as new people come in and they want to find out how to do certain things.
Well, just to compare, if we have an annual meeting in person, we're lucky to get like 100 or 120 people. So
of course, that's accumulation of 5 days too. So
yeah, so it's been very valuable, and thank you for putting it on.
All right. Well,
I think Andy was trying to say something and I interrupted him.
Go ahead, Andy.
Well, certainly I want to thank everybody for their patience today. We learned a lot between the 2 o'clock sessions and the 3 o'clock sessions. And we learned some idiosyncrasies of Zoom. And I appreciate all of the patience you've had. And I bounced through a number of the talks, and I think they were excellent. I remember about, was it a month and a half or 2 months ago, Rick said, we need to have another summit. And he came back to the next meeting and he said, and it will be November 15th and the 19th. Here it is. Here it is. And with his leadership, we pulled it off. So thank you, Rick.
Thank you for all your help, Andy and Derek and Rick and Richard and all the rest of you that were presenters. It never would have happened without you all jumping in, and you guys that attended. You know, only probably half of you RSVP'd. So if we do this again, please RSVP so we don't wait to the last minute wondering whether anyone's going to show up to our party.
All right. May I also make a suggestion just on the feedback in the last couple minutes? It sounds like there's a lot of folks who can't come in person, even in normal times. Could we consider doing Zoom as a supplement to our in-face meetings that you do your summits?
So Larry, Branch 35 was early on in Zoom, and we have, our members voted not to start until January. And they also said they wanted us to do a hybrid meeting, which is a combination of Zoom and in person. And Derek and myself and our tech lead and Frank Grossman are getting together to iron out how to do a hybrid meeting. So I personally think you do have to get together as soon as people feel comfortable, but there's no reason why it can't also be a Zoom.
Well, I'll say Branch 54 has been meeting in person since earlier this year, and we have been doing hybrid type meetings up to now, though there's a large percentage that don't come in anyway. And I noticed it has tailed off after running at least 6 months or close to 6 months of doing the hybrid. Most of them come in for the speaker, if anything that they want to hear, because they don't want to, there's no purpose during the lunch itself when they're at home.
Can I make a comment? Is Tony still here?
Yeah.
Hey, Tony, this is Pat. If you need any help next year with G&M, I would be willing to help.
I appreciate that, Pat. Thank you.
I mean, you know, as outgoing G&M, I'll be glad to help you if there's anything that that you'd like me to do or help you, or be on your committee with you. I'll be glad to do that.
Okay, Pat. Thank you.
Thank you, Tony. I appreciate it.
I'm never one for surveys. I've been over surveyed by the telephone and by email and by websites. But this is a chance for us to learn from you. Could someone, if you have a suggestion on how this could have been better, hit your space bar or unmute and share it with Rick and the rest of the team. Raise your hand, and we'll call on you. My God, no suggestions. Well, we'll get better. Thanks for your help.
Hang on,
Andy.
John's got one.
3 days is max. 5 days is torture.
It's hard work for the presenters too.
Agreed.
How about 2 hours? Too long, too short?
All right.
How about more frequent meetings, but only one day? Say 1 day a month or something on a specific topic.
Got my vote.
That's an idea. Yeah.
Yeah.
I agree.
I'll go with that.
I would have one suggestion. That is, I've been the secretary for 14 years and we've been kicked in the butt a million times to not call sir, sirs.
Oh, yeah.
A new state president called sirs several times in these sessions, along with any other of the leadership.
Yeah, I got lectured more than once by our esteemed former leader, Dwight Sale, on not misusing the word sir and not doing a plural if it was all in capital letters and so on. He was big on that, or is big on that still. Dennis, you've got a hand up.
Yeah, well, two things. One, I put that proper use of sir in our branch newsletter about 3 months ago, but also it's on the state website for anyone who really needs a refresher on that.
Most people do. Jim.
Derek, do you have a number for breakout rooms 1 through 3 on the number of attendees?
I don't.
Okay.
And I didn't do it until we got to 4 through 7, Jim. I'm sorry.
It's all right. I'm just curious because what was our overall attendance today?
The peak attendance I scored was 113.
I saw 118 once.
Okay, 118 it is.
Okay.
But the real number will come from the database that Zoom keeps. I'll be going to it at the end of the meeting, pulling it down and downloading it, and then we'll have a quote, a real number for the number of people who attended the meeting at any time.
That is to say, the number of different people who attended and how many sessions they did attend.
It's going to be interesting because I don't know if it scores the people who go into the breakout rooms. We're going to have to see. Today is going to be more complex. Every time you go to a breakout room, you create another version of yourself. And when you come back to the main room, you create another one. And then it's going to be a complicated thing to put this together, Andy. We'll have to work on it.
Oh, so that's how we can grow the branches, I guess. Huh?
Yep.
All right.
I'd just like to tell all of you, including you, Rick, and your wife, Judy, to all have a fantastic holiday, fantastic Thanksgiving, and have a Merry Christmas. And hopefully we can battle through this and make it out through 2022 and have a fantastic year. So
Great.
I just wish all of you a very good holidays, and please all take care of yourselves. It's very important.
Absolutely.
Yes. Same to you, Pat.
Adios.
All right. I think we'll be signing off. Have a great weekend.
Yeah, you too.
Bye.
Manara.
Only 10 minutes over today. That's damn good.
See you all later.